hesitant from the start. I met Mike through a business partner of mine like 12 or 13 years ago, and I met with him here in Blanco. I had to drive 2.5 hours to get here, and met with him and a business partner talking about a completely different movie. Excellent script, by the way. We should actually do that movie. Next on the list, after we get this done. And I didn't hear from him for 8 years. I thought I blew the interview. He didn't call me back. And I was like, oh, he doesn't want me. And then he calls me back 8 years later saying, hey, you remember me? He's like, yeah, you're the guy who didn't call me back. He's like, well, I got this other movie. I got this other project. And it involves Nigeria. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm kind of out of the movie business right now, but maybe I'll get back into it. We'll see. I'll try to lend you a hand if I can. And then he called me a week later and said, we're going to need you to come to Nigeria with us in order for you to do this movie. And I was like, the way that you describe it, I don't want to go. This sounds dangerous. It's perilous. I don't want to do this. So no thanks. He calls me a week later. He says, somebody paid for your airplane ticket. That's not good. That's not good. Okay, well, okay. I still got half a foot out. He said I had to raise my own funds to go, and I was like, well, that's an easy fix. I just don't have to raise the funds. I won't have to go, and that's problem solved. No, we got you an airplane ticket. Like, all right, okay. A week later after that, he calls us, somebody else paid for your hotel room. And that was a clear sign at that point that I was going. And I quit my work at home job at the time to work 8 hours a day for 2 weeks because this was in the middle of COVID and there were no passport appointments in the country. My passport had expired and I'd also lost it, which is another problem. And there were 0 appointments in the entire country to go and renew my passport to get out of the country. So I had to spend 8 hours a day for 2 weeks to get in touch with my state congressmen, my senators, and they helped me. And I got there, and I got a yellow flu vaccine shot, and I got on the plane. It was a day before I sat my booty down in the plane before everything got done. It's not me who's done any of this, and but through me as a vessel, and through Mike, and through Troy, and through Fred, and through Mama and Jed, and through blessing and praise and hope, and all of our students, all of our teachers in our schools in Africa, they are the ones that are making this happen. We are simply vessels. We're simply vessels, and we're just transferring the energy. So thank you guys so much for being here this evening. I would like to introduce my very good friend, Professor Wesley Wynn, mission brother, Wesley Wynn. Please walk us through this.
Well, Mike and I go back, I can't believe it, I was just thinking earlier, to 1992. So it's getting closer to 35 years than it is to 30 years. I've always said, it seemed like always recently that I've said known for 30 years. But we were students together at University of Texas. And I'm a little older than he is. I was a graduate student, he was undergraduate. He came in the fall of 92. This is a campus with 50,000 students. And I was pretty involved. I was in the faculty, excuse me, at that point, of course, the student government, and still involved in some things on campus. And there's 50,000 students there. And he came onto that campus absolutely like a whirlwind and immediately established himself as a leader that everybody knew. Everybody that was doing anything at UT knew him very quickly, particularly his enemies, people that we didn't like because they were on the wrong side of things, people that were often in universities that have a lot of godless views and fight against good things, fight against Christianity, fight against love of country, fight against marriage between a man and a woman as being the norm, and many other things that were bedrock for our civilization. And so I got to know Mike through his efforts in organizations to support what I believe everybody here tonight stands for. And at that point, I was not close to the Lord. I, nevertheless, because of the way I was raised, I had a very deep sentiment, positive sentiment toward many of the things that Mike was supporting. But he came on, he began to be a leader. He's a wonderful writer. He took over an organization was handed to him by another friend of ours called University Review, and he became the editor of that publication. He became the leader of other organizations, and it was a phenomenon. There just was nobody on campus like him, and again, our campus was 50,000 students. And I was there for my undergraduate and my graduate years. And I can honestly say, I don't think that there was I didn't meet another individual that had Mike Arnold's combination of street smarts and book smarts and humor and motivation ever. Anybody else. He truly was phenomenal. He was phenomenal then, and he's been phenomenal all through the ensuing years. I was pleased to be at his wedding, him and Amy's wedding, and our lives have touched base very frequently through the ensuing decades. And we got together very closely again after several years of being geographically separated and not so close. Back in 2020, in the summer of 2020, and he introduced me to a number of people, some of whom are here today, that have been a blessing to me and to my wife. And in 2021, along with Jeff Gibbs, I was convinced to go with Mike to Nigeria. And like Jeff Gibbs, I was not too enthused in a way. I was, but I wasn't. And at one point, I came up a couple of weeks before, because this was in the middle of COVID, and that's a country which can snatch you off the street for any reason. And technically, you weren't supposed to go over there and just go out and about. You were supposed to be in a quarantine for some amount of time. And we were going to be, I think, probably in and out of the country in about 10 days, which is shorter than the quarantine limit. So it's a risky place. And a couple of weeks before we left, I came up to tell him I wasn't going to go. But another characteristic of Mike, he's very persuasive. And so somehow or another, I laid my concerns, and I said, okay, we'll go. But it was still pretty nervous, pretty nerve-wracking. And I haven't told anybody this except a handful of people, including Mike. But that changed once we were on the plane. I love to sit by the window after all these years. I still love that. And I was sitting by the window from Frankfurt to Port Harcourt. It's in Nigeria, so we were crossing the Mediterranean, Northern Africa, the Sahara, and all those things I just love to see, except that day, you couldn't see anything because of the haze. It's August of 2021. The haze and the clouds, couldn't see anything. Until, unbelievably, we got right over our destination, which was the capital of Abuja. And what we had to do is we had to go further than that, land and take another flight back to Abuja. But there was nothing to see until Abuja opened up down beneath us. It was amazing. And at that moment, in those moments, God did something to me that I've never had. I can't really even describe, but he put me at ease. And he told me that everything was going to be okay. There's nothing to worry about. I wasn't going to have to worry about leaving my wife a widow at that point. And leave it in his hands. And I've traveled around quite a bit. I've been to about 40 countries. And I can still tell you that I do believe to this day that that was the most significant 10 days that I've ever spent out of the United States. The love that was expressed by the people, by the Christian people that we met in Nigeria, the friends that we made, friends that I'm still in touch with, friends that I was in touch with yesterday and today, have been enormous blessings. What I saw, what I learned there were still blessings. And none of that would have happened if I hadn't have kept in touch with this guy. It was so incredible. And in the intervening 4 years, I've kept up with what is being done over there. We probably would go. I thought I would go back before now, but I haven't been able to. But what's happening is, as you may know, is very, very bad. It's the single most dangerous place to be a Christian in the world. There are more murders of Christians in Nigeria than anywhere else. And in the abstract, that's sad, but in the concrete reality where you know friends over there, and you know the difficulties that they have in practicing their Christian faith and the risks that they take just by getting up and going to school or going to work, it's all in a very powerful and troubling way. So I've been delighted to see what's happened in the past few months. Mike and Jeff Gibbs went to Nigeria, I believe, in October, and they lit a match to something. And I think Mike is going to tell you about that tonight. And I think it's going to, it's just begun what's going to happen. What I've been asked to do right now is to show you a brief video, and as soon as that's over, I'll finish introducing Mike to you. So here's the video.
We're having a press conference tomorrow, talking right here at the Abuja, and the international community, the world press are going to do their right. For one, they agree that there's no Christian genocide. Mayor, am I right?
I'm fact-finding right now.
The idea of violence and displacement in northern and middle belt Nigeria does indeed constitute a calculated, current, and long-running genocide against Christian communities and other religious minorities without any reasonable doubt.
Now, in a bid to actually deflect from what is happening on ground, the Nigerian government made a move that would eventually undo that. You call somebody for a fact-finding mission. I was just brought over there as PRC, here at the party line, and when all the cameras were on, I flipped the script and I told him, it's like, whoa, okay. Wasn't expecting all that.
The Senate has established a 12-member ad hoc committee to address serious international allegations concerning state-backed persecution and potential genocide targeting Christians in Nigeria.
US President Arnold Trump is threatening to send military forces into Nigeria unless the government stops what he called the killings of Christians by terrorists.
Mike, you have become a social media phenomenon, and you are using your celebrity to very important effect.
Well, they're living in fear constantly, and so many have been displaced. Between 4 and 10 million have been forced out of the region and live in the most horrific conditions, what can only be described as concentration camps all over the country.
Please join me as we welcome Mike Arnold to give us his own speech. Let's put those hands together. Welcome, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my friend, Michael Arnold.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. It's something we've been working on for a very long time. It's been a long, hard road, and I'm very eager and happy to share it with y'all. I want to make sure I thank a few people before I get into it. First and foremost, my beautiful and long-suffering wife, Amy. She's the hostess with the mostest, but it's you doing that. And my family, my children and their significant others, and a couple of grandkids, I think, over there. Again, long suffering. This has been a sacrificial journey for a lot of people. Jeff Gibbs, whom you've met, he's my Samwise Gamgee, if you know what that means. Couldn't have done this, wouldn't have done this. He's been with me through thick and thin in some of the most dangerous places you can possibly imagine, and he's unwavered. He's awesome. So many others, of course, Dennis and Amanda. Officer Green, thank you for coming by, man. So much. And it's just one evening, so I'm going to go pretty hard, and I'm going to go pretty fast. I'm going to go pretty deep, because there's a lot to cover. We'll have time at the end for Q&A and to cover any ground that I may miss. But it's hard to wedge 6.5, 7 years into one evening. So we'll get through that. Something really big God's doing here. And not just here, but in the world right now. I would have finished this film and this project 5 years ago if I could have. There's no doubt about it. God's timing is everything. Working to end the genocide. Since I started going to Nigeria in 2010, more than 125,000 Christians have been slaughtered in the most horrific ways imaginable in the name of Allahu Akbar. As many as 10 to 12 million, mostly widows and orphans, vast majority Christian, have been displaced from their homes, living in hellish conditions. It's a tragedy. And we are actually on the front line of fighting that and ending it. There's progress being made. And a lot of that's happening right here from Blanco by God's design. And one of the reasons y'all are here is I need help. We can accomplish so much more. We're right on the cusp. Just need to get over that line. And that's why I think God brought y'all here. What we're building here and what we're doing is a documentary-driven social movement. It's a thing. The documentary, which we'll show this trailer of a little bit later, 8 terabytes of video from probably 50 different devices over 6 years of all kinds of conditions. A lot of work's gone into organizing it and ingesting it and all that. A lot of work's gone into it. And it's interesting, the stories that I tell from it, I've done probably 60 podcasts in the last 2 months. Just telling a little bit of the stories without the video, without the depth, it moves people. I know we've got lightning in a bottle here. It's 100% done by God's hand from the very beginning, and we'll get into some of that. I think that's the second documentary, is just the miracles, literal miracles along the way. So tonight, I want to sort of take you into the war room. What we're doing, there's a number of other people that God's connected me with around the world that are working on this. In fact, the day I got back from Nigeria on that kamikaze press conference, I got a call the next morning from Ambassador Sam Brownback and Dr. Alveda King that wanted to meet me. And so God has brought me into some circles of some really heavy hitters, and we're moving the needle. We're making a difference. And to tell the story, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and a video is, could be worth 1,000,000. I'm going to not just tell you what we're doing. As I'm doing that, I'm going to show you what we're doing. So a lot of this story is going to be told with video clips and music. The music that you were listening to while you're eating is actually original songs from our soundtrack. Got quite a few. And we have music videos that we've released before the world started paying attention. We've been trying to raise awareness for a very long time. God had us start producing these music videos for the soundtrack. And About a month later is when everything started to happen. So these videos I'm gonna show you, a lot of them have gone viral. I mean, I'm talking millions of views. God has really softened the ground up. We're making a difference before the documentary is even out. I started going to Nigeria in 2010. I couldn't have found it on a map. It was sort of accidental. I ended up filling in for somebody that was supposed to go. And didn't know anything about the place, a little bit hesitant. At the time, Nigeria was the only nation on earth where radical Islam was being pushed back. And it was peaceful, it was very prosperous, it had a Christian president, and fell in love with the place. My host was an amazing man of God. He became my spiritual father, Professor John Ofebu. Mighty man of God. My first trip there, he took me to his home village and prayed his mantle over me. And I believe I'm still carrying that to today. But he was a lover of Nigeria. I'm actually thankful that he died before all this stuff happened. He died in 2013, and it was still a peaceful place. He loved it with all of his heart. He lived in the United States for more than 20 years. Typical Nigerian, all 5 of his children went to top universities on full academic scholarships. I mean, amazing, brilliant man, humble, most Christ-like man I ever met. Traveled all over Nigeria with him for many years. Got to fall in love with it, like I said. I learned how significant it is. And not only finding it on a map, you can see it right there in West Africa. It's about almost the same size as Texas, for context. Nigeria is the 6th largest nation on earth. Who knew that? 6th largest nation on earth. By 2050, they say it'll be the 3rd largest. It's got 230 million people, and the average age is 19. As the rest of the world is aging and shrinking, the baby boom thing is even worse in China with the one-child policy, where you have more and more people entering retirement age and fewer people in the workforce to support them. That's the developed world. And that's why so many are jockeying for resources and minerals and global position is that exact reason. Nigeria is the opposite. It is so much brimming with potential, incredible people. Nigerian Americans are said to be the wealthiest and most educated group in the United States. I can't find that on a list somewhere, but from what I know, I believe it. I mean, I doubt you've met a Nigerian person here that's not really good at what they do, a really good person. I've asked him to send missionaries to us so many times. All the character traits that made America great, that is hard to find around here, I see them in abundance over there. And so oftentimes I feel more at home there than I do here, because the culture, the character of the people. Nigeria is one of the top 5 oil producing and exporting nations on earth. They have about $1 trillion in mineral reserves, and they're the minerals of the future. You got lithium, you got californium, rare earth elements, and tin. Tin is actually worth more ore than lithium. It's actually it's all the microcircuits and stuff use tin. So it's extremely wealthy underground. The culture is very vibrant. Nollywood is their movie industry. It's the 3rd largest on earth behind Hollywood and Bollywood, which is quite significant. You've watched Nollywood movies and TV shows and didn't even know it, probably. And music, they're very, very influential in not only pop music, but also gospel music, Christian music. The song Waymaker, I know that's Jeff's theme song. That's Nigerian, Sinach. And who's the guy that just beat up Jake Paul? He's a Nigerian guy. Yeah, AJ. So their culture is very vibrant. And the youth, they're poised in the next generation to be a very powerful force on this earth. And I think that'll be a very good thing if the right people are in control of that nation. I wrote these songs. God's given me the amazing tools lately, using a lot of AI, and the ability to express things that have been in my heart for a long time. I've always had music in my heart, but never had the ability, but now I do. Thank God. I use AI a lot. I think it's the most powerful tool ever made by man, and if we don't use it to advance the kingdom, then we're stupid because the enemy's using it. And so I've embraced it. I wrote this song as a tribute to the to my Papa, Professor John. This was the Nigeria that he died knowing. This is the Nigeria that the older folks still remember. So this is for John.
Mama, they pray to blackouts. Papa, still they fix what they won't be made. We know the hustle, it's not the smoke, but deep inside, hope never broke. I'm still proud to be Nigerian, not cause everything they okay, but cause we still they love, still they feel, still they kneel down to pray. We carry scars, we know they hide, we cry for justice, we never find, but I'm alright, I don't stand for this land I'm still call mine. We see the system use and shoes themselves tomorrow just to feel today. But that's the youth where they born with purpose. Street by street we dey find way. The nurse, the farmer, the girl with coat, the child will sing while trekking home. From Benin to Bono, from Ajegunle to Aba, we know perfect, but we know they are. Trying to be biased, feeling no bonus, we rise together. All we know rise at all. Still proud to be Nigeria, not for what we think explain, but for the ones who hold this country like fire, we refuse to wait. Still proud even when we fail, still proud even when we mistake, 'cause this reliance they live inside we still lay here, we still believe, not by mercy we could be.
You know, any social movement, you have to have a vision of what you're fighting for, and you have to be unified, and a foundation of what we're building there. This is, I think, an important thing. A lot of the young people, average age 19, it was 15 years ago that all this garbage started. A lot of them, it's all they've ever known is jihad. They don't know what they're really capable of. And it wasn't that long ago, so I'm working to remind them. And that guy right there, totally I'm using AI, he's what I call the virtual disciple. I'm actually working with some volunteer Nigerian coders to get him a WhatsApp. There's several I've created. WhatsApp, you can talk to him on the phone. He can manage his own social media. He's AI, he's got the Bible in Greek and Hebrew in his brain. He's a 17-year-old boy from Lagos, loves Jesus, and by the time you're done talking to him, you will too. But he's got all the smarts of AI, so he can help you, if your cassava plants aren't growing or you want to apply for a scholarship, but pretty cool. And I've actually unleashed them in a rudimentary way. People can log into ChatGPT and get some amazing feedback. So Chimdi is one of my virtual disciples that we're unleashing on Nigeria. You'll meet a few more as we go. Jeff, can you dim the lights a little more, Jeff?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
Right over there.
So 10 years, it was, 9 years, it was like that. I knew Nigeria as a peaceful place. In 2019, it was my 10th trip there. And I had heard some things. So when I was there in 2011, my second trip, I was in Abuja when Boko Haram blew up the UN headquarters in Abuja. I didn't see the smoke or hear the blast, but I was there. But that was so away from the norm. It was an anomaly. And again, I hear reports of this, that, and the other, but it just never crossed my path. Where I would go to Nigeria was the safer part. And I'd hear stories of someone trying to blow up a church or something, but it was peaceful. It was fun, and it was our 10th, my 10th trip there, 2019. A Holy Spirit detour, completely not on our schedule. It was exactly the opposite of what we were supposed to be doing. But we ended up. Let me just play this. This was our. You can see how I've aged. This was our first update video from when we got back in 2019, and Mr. Troy LeBlanc is the one who put this together.
We are here visiting the new Kuchingoro IDP camp. That's a refugee camp for internally displaced persons, just outside Abuja, the modern capital city of Nigeria. These people have been here, most for more than 6 years now, with no place else to go, as their home villages have been overrun and peaceful lives destroyed by violent radical Muslims. They are cut off from their homes, families, businesses, churches, schools, everything they've ever known. The younger children here were born in this camp. This is all they've ever known. These bright, hopeful people are here today not through their own bad decisions, but because of genocide and persecution. Their husbands and fathers were killed. Their churches burned. They have been brutalized and their lives and property ripped away simply because of their Christian faith. Let me introduce you to Miss Hamilton, now a widowed single mother of 3 daughters, who is doing her best with faith and dignity to raise them right in this unimaginable environment. I hope you will feel a connection with her and hear her heart as we did as she tells her story.
My name is Arnold. I am from Borno State in Goza local government. The reason why I am here is because of the problem of Boko Haram.
She went on to tell a story that it still hits me. She was a school principal in North Nigeria, Borno State, right near the Cameroon border, little place called Ngoshe in the province of Abuja. And she was a school principal, church school, educated woman, professional, peaceful, prosperous. And Boko Haram started coming into town. The name literally means Western education is forbidden. They started burning all the churches. They started killing the men in the most horrific ways imaginable. She has 3 little girls, and they finally burned her church. She said they were leaving the women and children alone mostly until they found out that they were feeding the men who were still hiding, and they started killing the women and children and selling them into sex slavery and such. And so they escaped, had to trek barefoot at night to avoid sounds. They were still pursued by Boko Haram. She had a nursing mother, nursing a 2-month-old child who was shot and killed next to her. They made it to Cameroon, had to stay in an open field for 2 weeks without any assistance. The Cameroon government didn't want them. Finally put them on cattle trailers and hauled them back across the border, 2 days drive. They made it to a camp, found out Boko Haram was coming, and they scattered. She ended up 500 miles away with nothing but her 3 daughters. Young man that had made it there before her, a young man named Enoch, you'll see some more of Enoch, had been her student, and he had found this new Kuchingoro camp, and the government had told him to stay there. They actually put in a well first thing. It stopped working, they never fixed it. But when they first made it to Abuja, modern capital city, she told her daughters, "Oh, we're gonna be okay." She thought she made it to heaven because the buildings were glass and the roads were paved and the lights. And they tore down that little dirt track that you just saw there and came upon this hellhole. And she asked which one was for her and her daughters, and they said, you got to build your own. She had to build her own shanty with branches and feed bags and scraps. School principles. Did nothing wrong, but just be Christian. And she'd been there for 6 years when we found her, and she's been there another 6. But when she walked into camp, she said the children ran up to her and said, "Teacher is here, teacher is here." And so she started teaching the kids in the camp. And I asked her what she needed. Here's a single mother with 3 daughters in a shanty she built herself with nothing, no outside support, no help, sewage ditch right outside the flap. And I said, I promise I'm gonna do my best to tell your story. And if people want to respond, what is it you need? And I thought she would say food, water, money. What would you say? Medicine, sanitation? She, without hesitation, she said, "Oh, help me teach these children. That's their only way out of here. That'll give them a path out of here." And when Boko Haram comes to recruit them, they recruit from these people. They'll have the strength of character to say no. They'll have a vision and a path out of here. So I promised her 2 things. I promised I would help teach the children, and I promised I would tell her story. And still trying to do that. That's what I'm doing tonight. I've been working on it. It's been like Alice in Wonderland. It's not a simple story. It's very deep. So yeah, that's what launched this whole thing, was promising to tell her story. Interestingly, I looked it up. Trump, a little bit ago, in the end of October, 2 weeks after my press conference, and they said it was a direct result of what God used me and Jeff to do, is exactly the reason Trump got involved. It flipped the narrative in 72 hours from 80% genocide denial to 70% affirmation. Over 3 billion impressions in 72 hours. And everybody, the highest level says that narrative, not me by name, but the narrative flip that God brought about through us is what compelled Trump to bomb them ultimately. But it was 6 years, almost to the day, that we found Miss Hannah. Then Trump says we're coming guns a-blazing. 6 years it took. But he's coming guns a-blazing. A lot of research I've been back 6 times since then. There were times where it was a level 4, do not travel, red flag. That's the State Department, do not travel, that's combat zone. We snuck in. There were times that we had to, and that's what Jeff's calling Wes a mission bro. When we went back in 2021, we were going back to film a documentary. That's what, eventually when you're collecting all these stories, that's what God said, you're filming a documentary. We went back, and as we were preparing for the trip, there was another documentary film crew in Nigeria that was arrested and disappeared. It was an Israeli film crew. And a good friend of mine's a retired U.S. ambassador. His good friend did Argo, that movie with Iran, getting the folks out of Iran. He mentioned that to us. We ended up doing that based on his advice. And it was still on IMDb. We did Mission Bros, a comedy, travel, mission-oriented show. And so we hid in plain sight. When we got to the airport, they had a brass band there welcoming the Mission Bros. We instead of trying to hide it, but the only people that knew what we were really doing were the inner circle. But it was like 2 or 3 days before we left that those Israeli filmmakers were released. Their government went to bat, and they got to Israel, and they hit the ground and said we were tortured every day. And we were flying in right behind them to do the same thing. So it's been an adventure. This story is very deep. Somebody asked me on a podcast the other day, is Nigeria like the head of the snake? And I said, no, it's like the head of Medusa. All the snakes are there. Again, nobody here knew how big it is, how influential, how important it is. And that's on purpose. It's like reverse Wakanda. All the bad forces on earth are trying to keep it hidden because they're hijacking it. I've got a lot of intel and a lot of insider stuff. I have the inner workings of exactly how Barack Obama unleashed all of that on purpose. This was the tail end of his Arab Spring, and this is the plum of it. This is the crown jewel. And a lot of the jihadis that were displaced ultimately and unnecessary in the northern Africa came down. In fact, Ms. Hannity said that the first wave were lighter-skinned North Africans, that they had recruited them and imported them after they finished up in North Africa. They brought them down to Nigeria. Nigeria is now, according to, and it wasn't like this, it was peaceful. It wasn't like this, but now, according to General Michael Langley, the head of AFRICOM, he testified before Congress just a few months back, said this is the global epicenter for radical Islamic terror in the world. Nigeria is now home base for ISIS and Al-Qaeda. You got Taliban forces there. Iran is connected, of course, Turkey, Pakistan, all of them connected to North Africa, North Nigeria, through the Caliphate. And it's a very strategic and deep and long-running effort to completely hijack this nation and use it as a launch pad for global jihad. They're even their recruitment videos. They still film the recruitment videos cutting off Christians' heads and holding them up, and they still do that, and to recruit people to come join them from around the world. And their own videos show all the global flags dropping and the black flag of jihad flying. This is the global headquarters for radical Islamic terror, and you never heard of it. It's a big deal. It's also where the Chinese are way overexposed, overextended. They've got their bloody hand in that cookie jar there. I've been able to document that they are looting about $9 billion a year in minerals from the north. At least that's what the government admits to, with 10% of that paying for corruption, $900 million a year just to pay people to look the other way. And that money they're paying the jihadis. They're paying rent to these jihad groups. China paying billions a year to jihadis. They do that all over the world, but Nigeria is just huge. There is not a more parasitic, predatory, soulless regime in history than China. I think I can say that from firsthand experience. So they're way overextended there. These folks thought no one would ever look. No one would ever pay attention. And so now they're really pissed off. The British set this whole country up on purpose to fail. Just in 1960, it had never been a colony. It was two separate extraction corporations that they just used to dominate and to extract. And then they said, okay, the North is Sharia law, the South is Christian. Let's just put you together. And the administrator's wife came up with the name Nigeria. And then Britain did that all over the world when they left their empire territories. They intentionally drew maps. India and Pakistan, they've separated. You got Sudan, you got Somalia, all those where you've had these eternal conflicts. The whole Middle East, those were from Britain drawing maps on purpose to keep people divided and killing each other so they could keep extracting minerals. And they're overextended there, it's undeniable. And they're pissed off. They don't want to see this come to light. The globalists, I told you, Obama, they had a Christian president. He was a reformer. Obama sent David Axelrod and recruited a radical Muslim warlord from the north and got him elected president. David Axelrod. He did. This guy that they got, Mohammed Buhari, had called for global Sharia law. He called for Sharia law across Nigeria at any cost. He was when Boko Haram wanted to mediate with the government. He's the guy they appointed as the mediator with the government, General Mohammed Buhari. David Axelrod was his campaign manager. Obama pulled all the military support of Nigeria's fight against terror. He refused to call these groups terrorists for the longest time until it was unavoidable. And then it was a couple of years after they bombed the UN headquarters. He blocked Nigeria from going to other countries. They tried to go to Israel, South Africa to get military support in their fight against terror, and he blocked it. We had intel. Remember the Chibok girls, the Bring Back Our Girls? Michelle Obama holding it up so bravely in the White House a couple days before. I have an acquaintance who was in the Situation Room, high-level military intel, We knew where those girls were, and he was ordered to stand down and not give that intel to the Nigerian military. We could have rescued them. He, after a career in military service, he quit after that, couldn't serve his country anymore. Obama gave the order to let those girls go when we could have rescued them, so that his wife could hold up the hashtag that came out of General Buhari's campaign, David Axelrod wrote. That was all smoke and mirrors, but those girls, our country sold them into sex slavery intentionally so that they could get this radical Muslim president in Nigeria. And I've got the goods on that. That's not been reported much. And they don't want it coming out. And also, let me go back a little bit. In 2010, when I first went, fell in love with the country, I felt God telling me this, and I've said it many, many times, what man has long called the dark continent, God is raising to be the continent of light in our generation. If you know the strength of the church there, the people of faith, knowing that when they go to church today, it might be the last thing they do, might get blown up, they might get killed. When they live daily under that kind of persecution, they still thrive. It's amazing. And anywhere that there's something good and valuable, there's always counterfeits. Nobody counterfeits Casio watches or Zimbabwe dollars. They counterfeit Benjamins and Rolexes, right? And since 2010 especially, the corruption within the church has grown mind-bogglingly, and we'll get into some of that. But Nigeria is a very important place. It's a very strategic place. Very important not just to end the bloodshed of these people. True religion that pleases God is helping widows and orphans, and there's millions of them that need help. Not just in the geopolitics, the cutting off the heads of all the snakes, the Chinese exploiters and the jihadis and the globalists who have hijacked that country. But in the kingdom, this is the front line. This is the front line in our generation. I believe there's so much of it. Whoever controls Nigeria is going to control the future. It's just that simple. They say by 2050, it'll be the second largest nation on earth. It's inevitable, and whoever controls Nigeria is going to have a very big hand, and it's going to either be controlled by people who are led by the Spirit of God, or it's going to be controlled by forces of darkness, and that's what the battle we're in right now. We're on the front line of that. I came out with this video we've been working to raise awareness of this. It wasn't until early September that this broke into the national consciousness when Bill Maher started talking about it, of all people, and then Ted Cruz. And then it snowballed from there. I came out with this a couple months before all that. It sort of sat there online and languished until the press conference, and this has been viewed millions of times now. I'd rather have one of these than 1,000 newspaper headlines. This is a song from our soundtrack.
4,998 gone in 1 year. And who burned 85 and the world's still clear. 6,000 run from plateau plains, no soldier near. December 25, the killers came, no Christmas cheer. 140 killed in Christmas race, churches crushed like brittle bones, pregnant mother, toddler child, no names, just ashes, stones. They danced on pews, we bled to build. They smiled while saints were shot and still they call it clash, not blood. The blood still speaks. It don't forget, it don't forget. It cries unread, blood still speaks. It stains the ground, it marks the map. It won't back down, blood still speaks. You'll hear a lie. They gave jobs to those who killed us, built houses for those who burned. Our time mothers sleep in sewage, our church is still on return. They call them reform fighters, we call them neighbors, graves we bury, the baptized, they rebrand us, depraved, and every time we cry for help, they quote us stats and peace, but you can't find hope on land where justice is deceased. The blood still speaks in burning fields, in Blanco smoke, in waters hill. The blood still speaks in Sunday shoes, still soaked in red, inside the pew. The blood still speaks from girl to God, from grave to sky, from ash to rock. They killed us slow, they named it war, they blamed it tribe, they closed the door. But we know truth, it bleeds and burns, it waits in wells, it always returns. So build your silence tall and proud, our blood will pull it down out loud. The blood still speaks. The blood still roars. It shakes the dome. It breaks the floor. The blood still speaks. From every name you failed to say, still flames remain. The blood still speaks. Not for revenge, but for the King. The bitter end will not be this. Will not be shame, will not be silence, will not be blame. It still speaks, and it speaks your name. We are still here, we are not here. We are the witness, blood still speaks.
There's Zuri. So, one thing God showed me along the way is there's no such thing as darkness. There's no such thing. It's the absence of light. And the way to end the darkness is to simply shine the light, reflect the light of love of God and magnify the light. And it may cost you everything, but it always wins. The truth always wins. Light and love always wins. And one thing that God used me to do is break the ice. Nigerians have lived in fear for so long. The regime that's in power now and the one before that, a total of 10 years of the harshest, most brutal, really downright Nazi, when you get down to it. Just control of the media, killing critics, jailing critics, extrajudicial. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. There's no place on earth that's been abused as much as Africa. People are starting to speak up. They're starting to stand up. They're starting to see what can be. And this next song, this is fun. This is probably my favorite. Don't have the music video for it yet. There's a Hollywood actor named Wale Ocho. I don't have his picture. I can throw it up there. You recognize the guy. You've probably seen him and stuff. He looks a lot like Elder Nate. He's my favorite. Elder Nate rocks. But Wale Ojo wants to do this video being Elder Nate. So he's practicing. But there's a novel in this one. You'll learn a lot just by watching this. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, 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 no. Hold up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a cookie jar on the table. Found it outside, but they wouldn't burn. Who owns the job? Who eats while the people starve? From Kandahar to Kaduna, Beijing to Borno, their fingerprints are everywhere, but the people still rise. Strangle, let the people breathe. And inside the cookie jar, we just take these. Strangle, we will make the change. Africa is not your minefield, the people will rise again. Terrorists with twisted scripture, acid rain, children cry. China signs the contract, then digs until the river is dry. Britain drew the borderlines, then watch Biafra burn. And Obama lit the fuse, pretending not to turn. Militants funded quietly, leaders walk with gold. Youth lost in undertow, the old dream flowing cold. They call it policy, but it's just a mask for them. They drain the veins of nations and blame the ones. Strangle, let the people breathe. Cookies are full of stolen dreams. Strangle, no more foreign shame. We are the children of fire. We are the storm unshakes. We are the children of fire. We are the storm unshakes. Yes, Africa is not your dumping ground. We are not your battery pack. Our sons are not your soldiers. Our daughters are not your statistics. We see you broken. We see you shell corporations. You eat with both hands while our mouths stay empty. While our mouths stay empty. Who trained the killers in the camps? Who mapped their minds and gave the deeds? Who holds the guitar, the oil, the keys? But these the people bound and needed. The land is rich, but they say we're poor. The youth are bright, but blocked at the door. The spirit is strong, but choked at the throat by foreign hands in bloody coat. Strangle, the lion waits, cookie jar. We make our own bread. Strangle, the rules is snapping. The people you take are now marching. Yeah, 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 yeah. The jar is not theirs. The hands do not belong. But the people will always deceive. And when the chains fall, the world will see. This land was never weak. It was strangled. But it breathes again.
I really like Elder Nate. He's a wild man. I don't know. I mean, tell me, correct me if I'm wrong. That's a banger, man. I love that song. And it you see where we're going with this? Where it's a social movement that is starting, and it's not here. It's over there. These people are rising. They're standing up. They're going to throw off these chains, and we can help them. I always tell them, your hope's not from the white man. The white man put you in this situation. Your hope's with you and God and standing up and they're getting it. They're getting it. Another rabbit hole. And then this is the first time I went viral in Nigeria. That was Jeff. That was November of 24.
Oh, if you say so.
Okay. There was a 12-month stretch. I was in Africa 4 times. Jeff was 3 times. But
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
the who used to watch or watches the Star Trek original series shows, the old ones, Captain Kirk and all that. There was an episode where, and you may remember it, where it was 1930s gangster on the planet. They went to a planet and they're all like Al Capone, you know? And they found out that another spaceship 100 years before had left a book, and this book was Chicago Gangs in the 1930s, and they took it as their Bible. And they modeled their civilization after that. Colonialism in its worst instances is a lot like that. And when you press on this too hard, the Nigerians will tell you, oh, we just got it from watching American televangelists. So what happened in October, where God flipped the switch and lights came on, that was supposed to happen more than a year before, in August of 24. I had finally connected with some very prominent folks. One fellow, Pan Am Percy Paul, he's the dean of Nigerian gospel music. Really, really respected by. After John Ofebu, he's the second most Christ-like man I've ever met. Amazing fellow. And we had a concert teed up that was going to be, they had gotten offer to host it at this venue called the Glory Dome. It's a dome with a golden roof in downtown Abuja. It holds 100,000 people. God sure wants you to be wealthy. You know, you just keep giving me money and keep giving me money, and if you stop, you'll go into hell. But if you, it's amazing how they twist the prosperity gospel crap. Cult-like, horrible. And but we were supposed to have this concert to raise awareness of IDPs and the internally displaced people and the genocide. This was going to be the big deal. We had major performers lined up. It was all over. The PR director for this was the host of the top-rated TV show. We had billboards, radio, TV, top performers in August. And 1 week before, we had our visas, we had everything. We were ready to go. And 1 week before, the pastor of the Glory Dome Church canceled it. Pretty sure the government told him to. Probably paid him some money to cancel it. Still haven't gotten a refund. We booked lodging and meals, we prepaid, still haven't gotten it. This church, this guy's the pastor of Dunamis, they have 3 outposts within a mile of New Kuchingoro camp, and they've never set foot there. The pastor's got a private jet, and probably they compete, golden toilets, and how many private jets they can collect. It's obscene. So when we went back, that concert was canceled, went back to pick up the pieces in November of 24, and I connected with the guy, and he interviewed me. Well, this is a clip from that interview, and I must have touched something, because this was seen millions of times overnight, but this was the first time I went viral in
Nigeria is the #1 nation on earth for Christian genocide, by a factor of 10. More Christians are killed here for their faith than anywhere else in the world. At the same time, Nigeria is home to 8 of the 10 richest pastors in the world. And I think those things are directly correlated. The body of Christ in Nigeria has all the wealth, all the resources, all the people, all the influence it needs to clean this place up and make it a wonderful place, safe and secure and equitable. The body of Christ has that, but there's a virus that has infected that body of Christ we call the prosperity gospel, which is really a satanic teaching that takes the attention of believers off of Jesus and off of serving others and puts them on themselves and their own bank account. And I did a lot of research and asking people I know and trust here, who should I speak with about this? Who is leading the charge to speak the truth in this? And Dr. Kamina is the one. And
so that touched a nerve, but so many people, it's eye-opening. Oh, wow, to show them what's in the Bible, and just speak to them, and it breaks the spell. So when we started doing music videos, Dr. Pan Am Percy Paul, I mentioned this guy, he's probably 80, amazing man. In fact, the song Waymaker I mentioned, the woman who wrote and sings that, she calls him daddy. He mentored her. I mean, this guy is incredible. In fact, he goes by the mentor. He's mentored so many leaders and performers, just an amazing Christ-like guy. I started working on this song, and he was very excited. So he signed off. He helped me with this song. And he's 80-year-old gentleman. I mean, this teddy bear guy. This is one of the, it'll speak for itself. This is an Exocet missile aimed at that stronghold, and again, it's gone viral. People are getting it. This one hits a little hard. Elder Nate, it gets a little rough sometimes.
You call it glory, but heaven call it shame. You call it church, but widows call it pain. Prophet don't whisper, prophet must roar. But church also, if shepherd wake up, the killers go. Follows the savior, lighting the way.
I don't think they'll be playing that one on Caleb anytime soon. But, you know, when you're dealing with the devil, you can't pussyfoot around. You know, they're ravaging the flock, these wolves in shepherd's clothes. When you really dig into it, the devious evil of it. They would take a widow's last dime and laugh about it. It's horrific. And here's the good news. The axe is already at the root of the tree, right? The tree does not produce good fruit and be cut down and thrown into the fire. So if I can help sharpen that axe blade, then so be it. I wonder what Apostle Paul would have done with internet, social media, who knows? I keep saying last, 24, in April, May of 2024, we went back. In fact, we were supposed to be laying the groundwork for the concert. We traveled all around, and just a few months before, the Christmas massacre had taken place in this community. And that was in Jos, in Plateau State. Jeff and I went to Jos, and actually went to Bocos, the community where the Christmas massacre took place. We were supposed to meet with the governor, because I was investigating the darkness. You know, that's what this is about, right? And it was overwhelming. In fact, we went and visited a campus at Plateau State University, and I stood on the spot 1 week before some students were gunned down. But God had other plans. We had the videographer. We were lined up to meet the governor, and he had to back out. He had to travel out of state, and his chief of staff was in the hospital, and no one could find his PR guy. Once again, that's the same story from 2019 when we discovered the IDP camp. Basically, it's like all dressed up in a place to go. And Joss, in May of 24, God took me and Jeff to an orphanage. Oh. A woman and her husband, Sam and Marilyn, everyday lower class. I mean, there's very rich and there's very poor. They're not very rich. Everyday people, husband and wife, and Joss. This was back when Boko Haram was really rampaging. Sam was in town, and there was a truck full of children that the police pulled over, and they arrested the driver. They assumed he was taking them to the sex slave market, which is a thing. They held him overnight, but he was able to prove he was taking them to an orphanage that was, one nation over. There was no one there to take these children. And Sam talked to the driver and said, well, next time you come through, if you have some children, we can take them. These are children who were orphaned by Boko Haram. They saw their parents hacked to death, burned alive, their mothers raped, their brothers and sisters killed or taken and sold, and they happened to survive. Every single one of these children. And a couple of weeks later, comes back with a truck, and thinking there were 30 in that first load. Within a year, they had adopted 286 children and raised them as their own. And she said, and you'll see it, she's in the trailer, they showed up wanting to get guns and go back and kill. But when you just love them, their hearts change, and they want to go back and rebuild. And that's when God showed me there's no such thing as darkness as the absence of light. Light wins, love wins. And that changed the whole trajectory of everything. My whole life and everything we're doing is, it's not about, you got to show the darkness as the backdrop, but it's not about fighting against the darkness, it's about shining the light. And Marilyn and Sam are very bright lights. This is very important, not just, again, for the human side, these are orphans. By the best numbers that I could put together, about 10 to 12 million displaced Nigerian, about 80% children, the average age is 19. They say that there's about a 50 to 60% chance they will be radicalized without intervention. So the numbers show that between 5 or 6 million more jihadis will be formed by 2030. if we don't intervene. Think about that. 5 or 6 million more ISIS members with $1 trillion in minerals, and by then they'll have the whole reins of the government. That's a very dark chapter. So it's these children are so important, this generation. But that's what inspired this song. These are true stories. These are true stories.
I was 7 when the moon came. Mama told me, still don't speak. I heard her scream before I saw the fire. I saw my father fall beside the creek. They burned our house. They laughed at God. They left me breathing, but barely alive. He will go back. That's what they say. To find the blood, to make them pay. That's what the world expects from me. A heart turned hard, a soul not free. He will go back to kill. But then she found me dust on my skin. Said, you're not forgotten, come in. She gave me bread and gave me books. She held my name like something good. There were others Marilyn, Enoch too. They spoke of hope like it was true. They didn't run, they didn't rage. They stayed, and love rewrote my page. He will go back. That's what they said. But now I carry love instead. No bullet here, no hate to give. Just one more reason still to live. He will go back to build. I still hear the screams. I still feel the night. But now I walk with books, not bombs, because someone believed before I did. And the one who died for me, he showed me how to live again. You will go back, we all do, to what was lost, to what is true. But when you stand where you were born, will you pass the pain or plan reform? You will go back to heal the heart. You will go back with voice for arms. We've all been wrong, but not all must wound. The choice is still yours and mine and mine.
Love wins. The film we're making, I don't want it to be categorized in the Christian movie section of the Blockbuster. It isn't Blockbuster anymore. I don't. it doesn't need to be, because who is it that said, preach the gospel all the time, only use words when necessary? The testimonies of these people, the stories of what Jesus did for them, and the love that just comes overflowing out of them as they're in the midst of unimaginable hardship and persecution, they're standing and they're serving and they're loving. That's more powerful testimony than anything. And so I believe this is going to be a very powerful Christian film, but it's not packaged as such. But it's stories like that. Marilyn and Sam, my God, they're just amazing, amazing human beings. Phil, you've seen this. I am on a working group that's chaired by Ambassador Sam Brownback, a lot of human rights folks that are focusing on Nigeria, and working on policy paper that's going to be handed off to the president. And I have fought, and successfully, the very number one thing on the list is do a census of the displaced people and work to get them home. That's the very heart of everything here. And my mission has been to tell Miss Hannah-Two's story, to tell their story. I think this video right here does it pretty well. And this was the hardest one. And these are all 100% true stories. And the displaced people, my dear friends over there, Miss Hannah-Two and Enoch, they tell me this is their story. This is them. If you have a napkin or a tissue, you might want it. But this is their story. This is their lives.
I watched them burn my church. My father ran back inside for the offering box. He never came out. They dragged my mother through the mud. My sister vanished into the screen. The last thing I saw was her wrist reaching for me. They threw the bodies in our well, even the baby. My friend Joshua's head was found with the goats. We are not weak, we are wounded, we are not favorites, we are violated, we are not forgotten, but we are refused and still. We remain. We walked from death to silence. Cameroon said no space. We returned like ghosts, built shelter from scratch. No roof, no food, only sewage and smoke. No borehole, no help, no peace. They said, don't worry, Abuja is safe. But the school days, the school of sleep, the one we built with prayer and sticks. They say I can't be lucky, but it's the only thing that didn't kill us. We are not poor, we are not dead, we are not dead, we are displaced. nasty. They call them reform. But me, I'm still fighting to eat. Still watching children disappear in the night. Still writing my name on the earth in chalk, so God won't forget. We die quiet, and the world keeps scrolling. But you're hearing this, you will not say you didn't know. We are not asking for revenge, we are asking for recognition. We built this camp on blood. We are not rebels, we are remnants. We are not what they call us, not beggars, not thieves. We are not shame, not trash, not burden. We are the testimony, we are the proof, we are the echo that has not died. And even now, we remain till we are still here.
That one gets me every time, that there's millions of Christian widows and orphans living like that today. And we got to get them home. Not just for our sake, so there's not 5 million new jihadis, but it's the right thing to do. They're good people. Well, the battle's begun. The gloves are off. Trump dropped bombs on Christmas Day. Nigerians tell me it's the greatest Christmas present they ever had. Of course, the government is not happy about it. God's timing is everything. We have been working on this film for a very long time, but right now is when we need to finish it. There's a major narrative war taking place. It just came out yesterday, and I made it a big thing. It's all I post. It's crazy. I post something today, it becomes headlines in Nigeria tomorrow. Truly, they spent. The Nigerian government just paid $9 million to a lobby firm out of Austin that has right-wing ties. I saw an article in Town Hall, supposed to be a conservative publication, that was written by. I did the research. The guy that wrote it is the chief writer for a PR firm whose principal works for the Nigerian president. It's like that. And they're trying to deny that this is happening. They're trying to say, oh, the government's in front of it and fixing it. The government's fully complicit. And 100% the Nigerian government benefits from it. They're behind it. They want it to happen. And they're obstructing every effort to stop it. But Trump's sees through it, I think. He started that direction, but what Ambassador Brownback, who's done this for a long time, said there's about a 6-month window. If we don't move the needle and raise the awareness and get stuff done, it'll just fade away. And if this fades away, first of all the people that are speaking up now, the Nigerian government's already saying that if you say the word genocide, that's sedition, so they're just going to kill them when they do that. And if the world looks away, this jihad Holocaust is going to continue because the world paid attention, now they looked away. It's it, they're done. China and the globalists will continue to hijack that. It'll be taken over entirely by the ISIS, and it'll be a cancer that's going to metastasize very rapidly around the world if we don't move the needle here in the next 6 months. God's called us to do this. There's, in fact, on the Zoom call when Brownback was talking about that, he said, you know, the PR and all these global forces dumping money to try to hide this. He said, what can we do? I said, well, get ready to drop the trailer from the documentary. And he said, that's what needs to happen. So this is very important. There's no going back. The people in Nigeria love Donald Trump very much, and they're very appreciative. Obama, they know that Obama caused this, that Biden tried to cover it up, and they know that Trump is their, they believes to be their liberator. I was going to play another video written by one of these displaced young men, but for the sake of time, I'm going to skip it. But if anyone wants to afterwards, we can go back. Okay. Here's what we're doing. Twofold. You got to treat the injury. We're building and running schools for displaced children as much as we can, as much as everything we get goes to supporting that. And it's a drop in the bucket, but it's an important drop in the bucket. Breaking the cycle of death and restoring hope. I'm going to play a little update video on that in just a second. But we're fighting the narrative war, and that's where God's called me, not just for this film and these videos, but a bunch more. But that's what we're doing. We're looking for the treatment. We're taking care of these kids to intervene. And then we're looking for the cure. We're looking to effectively topple that government and the social movement for the right people to rise up and embrace their God-given destiny. That's the big picture here. Here's a little update from the schools. Who knows Laura Loomer, influencer? She's pretty significant. Well, you'll see.
Well, Nigeria is now in the headline finally as the U.S. takes action to start to end the ongoing long run of genocide of Christians there. And I want to bring attention to what I think is the biggest issue in that regard, and that is the displaced generation. There's an estimated 10 to 12 million Nigerians, otherwise peaceful and prosperous people who have been driven from their homelands. Vast majority are women and children, widows and orphans, and their vast majority is Christian, at least 80%. And they're living in the most horrific conditions imaginable. The reason this is so important is beyond the humanitarian aspects. The fact is that international organizations say that between 50 and 60% of these will be radicalized by 2030. That's another 5 to 6 million or more jihadis that are in the making without intervention. What we've been doing is building schools in the concentration camps where so many of these people live. Currently, we have 3 schools up and running with about 600 students. We have a school now that is almost finished, a new campus and a new camp that will hold another 500 displaced Nigerian children who desperately need education, desperately need intervention, need love. The testimonies from our students are that they come to school, all they've ever known is violence and death. And now they wanted to go back and kill, now they want to go back and rebuild. So this new school is a big deal. It was made possible very recently by a generous donation from Laura Loomer. It's almost finished. We need to raise about $3,500 more to put the roof on it, windows and doors, and another couple thousand for the chairs and chalkboards and such. After that, it's about $1,750 a month for the teachers necessary as well. Asking for people to help with this over this holiday season. We can finish the school very quickly, and by the start of the semester in January, we can have 500 students hungry for education, wanting to be productive citizens, but they have no avenue. We can make a very big difference in their lives. And I believe it makes a difference in the world, because if you realize that those 500 students, we're stopping anywhere from 250 to 300 from becoming radicalized, that's huge. Please help if you can.
So that's the school update that Laura Loomer got on and raised the rest of it. So we now have campus sitting there. We need to raise money for the teachers. The narrative war is where the real battle is raging. U.S., it's very important that Trump doesn't back off or look away. The opponent is very well funded and strategic. The truth must be advanced. It always wins, but you got to fight for it. I'm going to show you an example of what the narrative war looks like. When Jeff and I literally were risking our lives, there was going to that press conference, there was a good chance we were going to be killed, and we were prepared. I updated my will and had a farewell dinner with my family. That's where God called us. This same guy right here was being wined and dined by the president of Nigeria. And when he came out for his press conference, he did a little bit different. What you'll see is his media statement there. The other video is my own hidden camera video when I was stuck in a room with 3 northern imams for a photo op. The guy next to me, well, you'll see. This is my undercover video, but this is what the narrative war looks like.
What is the position of U.S. governments regarding this?
Criminality is a criminality. It has no bound, it has no color, it has no religion.
Terrorism has no color and no religion and no tribe.
We can never get it right until we link it to any religious group.
It's not about religion.
This has never been a serious religious issue and should not be.
You know, we're not very good at keeping records, but it's quite possible that right now, even more Muslims are being killed than Christians.
We even know that Boko Haram and ISIS are killing more Muslims than Christians.
These are areas where there have been ethnic clashes. Herders and farmers.
There are other incidents that happen to be in the Middle Belt, for example, where farmers are located. Most of these farmers happen to be Christian, and some herdsmen are going through and they have these incidents.
I'm sorry to tell you that this security challenge,
Prophet, don't whisper! Prophet must roar!
So that guy got up there, Tiffany Trump's father-in-law, wined and dined, ends up he's a dual passport holder. He's a Nigerian citizen, American citizen. He was a longtime crony of the Nigerian president from when he lived in Lagos. And he just happens to be Trump's envoy to Africa. He just came and spewed verbatim the talking points of these radical northern imams. And he went and took that to President Trump. This is serious stuff. This is not lightweight. I mean, we're fighting, we're punching heavyweight here. Here's what I'm presently working on. The documentary is the centerpiece of it. I'm getting ready to drop a book about all this. I'm dropping it next week in Nigeria, getting a lot of reviews. Ends up, Nigeria hasn't taught history to their students, to their kids in 15 years. And I'm connected with a whole bunch of young influencers. They've been reading this to give reviews, and they all say they can't put it down. It's just Nigerian history to how we got to today, but this is going to be a bombshell book. Working at kicking off a series of conferences. Did one of these in Cincinnati recently. There's about 3 million Nigerian Americans. They're just not organized, and then the church is being bombarded with so much propaganda as well. So we're going to go all the big cities and do one-day conferences to get the ministry leaders together with the Nigerian leaders and really shine the light and get people coordinated and organized. That's how you fight Washington's spin and PR, is by going straight to the people. And so I already have the first one. We're getting teed up in San Antonio, but looking to go to all the big cities over this spring and do these conferences, doing advocacy. As me with Chip Roy, I've had made a lot of connections. People in Washington actually reaching out to me not too many Americans know more about this than me. I've been there in front lines, and they recognize that. And they gave me the name Earthshaker. It is sort of funny. That's what they call me over there, even in the newspapers and such. And it's taken on a life of its own. Just in December, I picked up 75,000 Facebook followers in Nigeria, people are tuned in. It's really sparking something. And there's so many memes about me. It's funny. I mean, after the press conference in 72 hours, over 3 billion impressions. It's everywhere. This comic here, I think is hilarious. That's the PR spin doctor guy. Somebody, I don't know who made that. I just saw it floating around. I've seen it's everywhere. And then somebody picked up on it and took it to the next step.
I'm gonna teach you a lesson you will never forget. Would you lie again, Reno?
No, Mr. Arnold, I would never lie again.
Go away, you idiot, and lie no more.
Vai na boy, now go. Here we're going. And go on. Now go.
That's become the story of my life, but it's not all fun and games. This one, I saw this one. I didn't even know who made this, and I'm only going to play a minute or so of it. And it's when I found it, it had been viewed just on this one place about 250,000 times. Then I posted. This has been seen millions of times. I don't know who made this.
It is the kind of allegation that does not just shake a throne, it shakes the very foundation of the Nigerian Federation, striking at the heart of the most revered traditional institution in the country. The headline you saw is not a whisper from the rumor mill. It is a thunderous open indictment from an international observer, Mike Arnold, who has publicly named the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Alhaji Saad Abubakar III, as a suspected sponsor or direct beneficiary of the terrorism ravaging northern Nigeria. Today, Saturday, December 6, 2025, we are breaking down this explosive dossier that has set the diplomatic and intelligence circles on fire. We are looking at the specific, damning checklist of innocence that Arnold has challenged the Sultan to meet, and we are connecting the dots between the Sultan's mysterious military past in Pakistan and the current Lakurawa invasion that is swallowing his domain. To understand the gravity of this moment, you have to realize that Mike Arnold is not just throwing stones. He is launching a precision missile at the credibility of the spiritual leader of Nigeria's 100 million Muslims. In a statement that has gone viral, Arnold argued that if the Sultan is truly innocent of the bloodshed happening under his watch, if he is not complicit in the slaughter of Christians and innocent villagers, he can prove it easily by taking specific actionable steps. But Arnold's conclusion is chilling. In my humble opinion, his continued refusal to do so points to his guilt.
Yeah, so we're not playing games. This guy's Pope and King to 108 million Muslims. He's the 19th generation successor to the founder of the Sokoto Caliphate. It is the headquarters. He was a brigadier general in Afghanistan and Pakistan during the war when we were catching Taliban units with Nigerian fighters embedded. He was the general there. And when he went back to Nigeria to become the Sultan of Sokoto, Al-Qaeda and ISIS came with him. So yeah, I've called them out and they've responded to me. Been name checked by the Sultan of Sokoto. There's this another guy, he can't read his last name, Ahmad Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi. Sheikh Gumi is his name, and every Nigerian will tell you he's one of the bad guys. He's the imam to Boko Haram. And you can read, visa ban for mayor of Blanco, Texas by Arnold. This guy's got a million jihadi followers, and he's name checking me like that. And what's funny, visa ban, earlier in 2025, he tried to go on Hajj to Saudi Arabia, and they wouldn't let him in the country because he's too radical. Saudi Arabia, where they dismember journalists, wouldn't let him in because he's too radical. Here he is name checking me. And I figured, if you got a fatwa against you and they're trying to kill you, might as well have fun with it. So I keep smacking the guy around. Oh, look, there is my free speech, and here's his travel ban and mine. You know. So, you know, liberals and radical Muslims both hate humor, I'm finding. So I'm having fun with it. And these things are going viral, and people are finally speaking up. What's funny is after the Christmas strike, I posted a music video for him dedicated to Sheikh Gumi from the US military. And it was the police, every breath you take, I'll be watching you. And he posted later that he's heard from inside sources that he's on the US hit list, and he should be. And so the next day I posted this with a simple, "You're welcome." So, but I'm demystifying these people. It's not just the Muslim leaders, their jihad. I mean, this guy, he's called for the amnesty and government payments to these terrorists. I mean, he's horrible. This is the president of Nigeria. He gave every senator $50,000 cash for Christmas. That's just a nice little gift. And every representative $35,000 cash. So I posted this, I did the math. That would feed 90,000 displaced children for a year. So, you know, Merry Christmas, we hungry. That's, nobody's ever gotten away with talking about the Nigerian leaders that way, but I'm sort of safe over here in the United States. But it's encouraging. People are standing up. They're getting it, and they're panicking. These scumbags. Oh, I just messed up. Oh, this one, yeah. This one, it's not just about the social media memes and posts and press. We're doing all that. We're organizing. This video, I wrote the song, I produced a song with this video. I just got it today. A Nigerian guy did all this animation, volunteer, and I posted about a couple weeks ago. I need some help with some of this media. I got about 100 people that want to help out, and they're sharp people. But I just got this today. This was all done by a volunteer. But this is the social movement.
What we bring, light in the dark, we move, we march, for fear no change is hard. We were born in the dust and the flame, voices raised, they can't erase our name. They told us hush, they told us wait, but destiny don't wait at the gate. We got bones in our hands and fire in our souls, no delay. That's how we roll, and it won't set free. Every word we speak is under the silent speed. We're gonna shake the earth. Oh, let it roll. Truth in our mouths and light in our soul. From Lagos streets to yours and north, we rise up. We shake the earth. We shake the earth.
So that's what we're doing. I'm just inviting them to be earth shakers too, because all I ever did was tell the truth. I didn't do anything special. And they can do that. They're doing it. They're standing up. We're starting a social movement. The heart of it is this. And Jeff, move over towards the lights. It's full of a lot of love, a lot of time, a lot of danger, a lot of blood and sweat and tears. All those videos have gone viral. They all have the movie poster. I got people, when's it coming out? Did I miss it? Sam Brownback, the top ambassador at large for international religious freedom under Donald Trump, first administration, is saying, where is we need it? It's been a lot. 8 terabytes of videos, a lot of there's little clips from a bunch of different devices. It's a lot of work, and Jeff has just been heroically working many long hours. Now Troy LeBlanc's on board. He started, he's back and ready to go full time, or half time, enough time. Got one heck of a team. Our editor, and the stuff I've been showing you is amateur. I mean, that's me hacking on my laptop. The editor for our documentary does stuff for Beyonce and Gal Gadot and Hollywood and stuff. He's a Christian young man. I have a little clip after this of my co-executive producer. Very, very, very talented people that God has brought around this. We're ready to finish it quickly, and it's going to make a big difference when we do. Jeff, ready?
Today on Nigerian Idol, we have our celebrity judges, Christian Earl, Courtney Hughes, and
We were in Nigeria for a fun mission trip. One of Africa's most vibrant nations. Lagos, Abuja, music, youth, faith, full of promise. Then a detour took us somewhere we weren't supposed to go. Right in the capital, a refugee camp, erased from the record. The government calls them vagrants. The UN says it doesn't exist, but it does. And there are countless more like it. That's where I met Miss Hamilton. She was a school principal before the Gwoza massacre. She barely escaped with her daughter. No aid, no sympathy. 5 years in a shanty that she built herself, 500 miles from home. And still, she was teaching. She didn't ask for food or money, just one thing: help me teach these children. When the terror group's name literally means Western education is forbidden, and they recruit the uneducated, she knows teaching is how you fight back. When I promised to tell her story, I didn't know how dangerous and costly it would be. 5 years of sacrifice, a life turned upside down.
See, I'm standing at the exact spot that you've seen on social media. There was a shooting here at Taco State University. Just 1 week ago today, there was a direct violence.
5 more trips deeper into darkness. From the halls of power to the front lines of genocide. We ignored official do not travel warnings, used a fake productions cover, while other filmmakers were arrested in Portugal. We captured her homemade bulldozer, 4 days notice, $12 compensation, police orders.
There are no longer IDPs.
I can say that's not true.
Then there's Aisha. She died in a hospital bed, denied antibiotics for days unless her stepbrother paid a bribe. He couldn't, so they dumped her corpse on the morgue floor, tagged unknown. They assaulted us when we came to get her body from burial. This isn't random. It's coordinated. Death, displacement, political realignment. Billions a year in blood minerals looted from where these people once lived. The UN documented this camp in 2015. Now they say it doesn't exist. The US government helped make this happen. And just when we felt overwhelmed by the darkness, another unexpected detour revealed something even more powerful. Love. People with no help but faith, still serving, still teaching, still caring for children who watched their families slaughtered.
We have nurtured them, so now they are not thinking of all being soldiers and police to go and fight. Now they want to contribute their quota. They want to go back and rebuild.
When I first came to Nigeria in 2010, it was peaceful, booming. Then it was hijacked. Now it's the global headquarters for Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and it's spreading. The slaughter continues. Millions are still displaced, still denied. More every day. Sweet little Johanna was born in this camp, just days before they demolished it. His mother lived right next door to Miss Antu, right next to Aisha. We stood in the rubble, where their homes had been, and I had to wonder, will they grow up to carry violence or love?
Jeff, where'd you go?
Oh, you're crying.
Need some lights.
That took a lot longer to make that than I thought it would, but we're ready to finish this. Ready to finish it very rapidly. This is a fellow who's my co-executive producer. His name's Kyle Sailors. He's had over 150 festival awards and nominations, including Sundance. He's got credits across all the major streamers, Netflix, Amazon, Fox, Angel, 20 different platforms. He's been involved and been executive producer of multiple theatrical releases with A cinema scores and top 10 in box office rankings. He's a godsend. I've never done this. He's done it a lot. He's done his whole thing with social movement documentaries. That's been his thing, and he's probably the best in the world at it. And he couldn't be here. He wanted to be. He does this all over the world, but he sent this. So this is a message for you from Kyle Sailors.
Hello, my name is Kyle Sailors, and I am a producer director. My brother, Tyler Sailors Brothers, we spent the last 25 years. We shot in India, China, Brazil, Europe, America, 50, I don't know, 100 cities, probably, I don't know. Anyway, we've had stuff at Sundance, we've had stuff on Angel Studios, we had their first theatrical hit, with His Only Son. We had 25 years of, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, NBC, Universal, a lot of stuff. Anyway, all that we said is we love documentaries because they tell stories that otherwise would not be told. Documentaries are far less expensive, so it's much easier. Movies take years and years of process and stuff to get moving, to get made. The documentary can be a catalyst. One time back in 2009, we did a documentary on Kim Jong-il, and it was ended up at Sundance, and it ended up being at the U.S. Capitol, the first movie they ever played at the U.S. Capitol. And when we sit there at that moment, we mainly done like some MTV videos and this and that. But at that moment, we sit there and we watched, and it changed our life because we saw they brought the people from our documentary over and they testified before Congress. And at that moment, we saw that a documentary can change the world. Because it's a story But the problem is, like Americans especially, we're visual, everybody in the world is now, but without a visual, without an ability to tell a story, craft a story, each day the news craft a narrative. It's a production, and they craft for a specific thing. And so, Mike, when I met Mike, it was like, when I saw his passion for this, and then when he called me and he said, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna expose them. Honestly, I thought that might be one of the great, I've been to some dangerous places, some third world, some of the ghettos, some of the stuff that I thought that is maybe one of the craziest things I've heard somebody do. And I said, I think there's, I don't know, 60, 70% chance you're gonna die, maybe 80. So I was like, you better get out of there the second you explode this bomb. And he did, and amazingly though, not only did he get out by God's grace, but it actually did what he was trying to do, and it changed the narrative. And it could possibly change the country. So anyway, we're on board. We're gonna help in any way we can to get this to the finish line, to make sure that it's the quality, to make sure it's the whatever at the end, of the finishing, the mastering, the broadcast, and then any connections we have into the world of streaming or places that we think could be a great partner for this project to get as many people as possible around the world. One last time, 20 seconds, we did a project in 2014, volunteers, and it was about the fire women in India. And we did the project, it came out, it did well for the people that, you know, we gave it back to the organization and all that. It was all good. 10 years later, we happened to run across these people, and we hadn't seen them. We moved on from one project to the next to the next. And they said, you know how much impact that project had? And I was like, nah, you know, I was like, oh yeah, I heard it did, you know, it did. No. Because of that project and the people that saw it, the donations that came in, we have helped us feed 10 million women. At that moment, I realized that little project, it wasn't as famous, it wasn't as on as biggest screens, it wasn't as popular as the other ones, but that project had more impact than maybe anything I've ever done. And so I believe when you find something like this and what Mike has, and he has such a passion, it takes a relentless passion, because it's hours and hours and years of work for this kind of stuff. And he's almost to the finish line. And so if you guys can help him get to the finish line, I think we'll all be a part of something that'll help bring us, bring in awareness, and maybe save hundreds of thousands of millions of people, you know, never know. So that's what we hope. That's the dream. And so anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for taking the time.
What a blessing. I didn't know that guy when all this started, but God has brought everything we've ever needed to get this far. And that's why I know he's gonna, when God calls, he always guides and provides. That's his promise. I've done so many fundraisers over so many years. And I don't feel called to do an auction or to do a hard sell. My experience is that, well, what the Bible says, that God loves a cheerful giver. Everybody should give what God has put on their heart to give. And when you have a calling to do something and you need something you don't have, he already has somebody there that has it, that he's calling to contribute. I mean, that's how it works. We're many form one body. I've shared the vision. I'm going to share the need, and let God make the ask. God's doing something very big here that truly is changing the world, and it's going to save. It's already saving lives, and we can end the genocide. We can raise up a nation that exalts God like the world hasn't seen before. There's so much potential there if they just get the string pulled off. And we're breaking those chains. God's breaking those chains, and now's the time. There's no going back. We need funding for the schools. The inflation over there has gone crazy, and what was costing us about 12, 13, 15,000 a year is now about 60. And the new campus is going to add to that. We need sustaining givers, $25, $50, $100 a month. It goes a very long way. We need to finish this documentary. There's two, and if you scan the barcode on your table there, there's two ways you can donate to it, and we've actually, to this date, To get this far, we've received contributions of about $150,000, through donations. But there's also an industry standard. It's set up as an LLC. There's a subscription. It's an SEC Reg CF offering. It's all above board. You can invest with your 401k or your IRA. It's a security. That's all set up. And we also need just general donations. It helps to eat sometimes and pay bills. And all that, those are needs. We can take this across the finish line. Hands-on connections, introductions. I don't know who I don't know, but you know who I don't know. There may be that person or those people that are called to play a big role in this. I haven't met them yet. So, have a coffee, invite me over, invite me to speak at your church or your Rotary Club, host an event. I need administrative help, office help. I need help with websites and correspondence and stuff. And absolutely intercession. This is the highest level of spiritual warfare on earth, and we're on the front line of it. We'll do a Q&A, but what I'm going to do is just ask you to, I'm going to play a video, and I hope I make it through. This is an expression of my heart more than any of them. This is the vision and the calling God gave me. And just pray about, while you watch it, what God would have you do, if He's might be calling you. If He puts a number on your heart, God loves a cheerful giver. Maybe He'll shock you. It'll have more zeros than you ever imagined. But God loves a cheerful giver, and just do it with cheer. And I promise that you won't regret it. But God will put a number. And it might be nothing. It might be, but if it's zero, that means God's got another place for you to put it. And you need to go from here and find it. But if it's this, we could sure use the help. So just pray about this as this video plays. And then when it's over, if Kyle, you come up and say a few words, and then Pastor Phil will pray, and then we can have questions and answers, okay? So Kyle, after this song.
A battle is raging, the night is long, generations silent, but the fire's still strong. The cycle of death wants to claim their days, but love is rising, breaking chains from ashes and sorrow. Sparks survive, one child at a time. The future's alive. From death to life, from dark to light, the children of the battleground, the fight. Africa, rise, your song be sung. The continent alive, the kingdom come. We teach, we learn, we serve, we stay, rescuing hope in the hardest place. God changes hearts, God changes lives. The light keeps burning, it will not die. From ashes and sorrow, the flame will grow, one child at a time. The world will know. From death to life, from dark to light, the children of the battleground, the fight. Africa, rise, your song will be sung. The continent alive, the kingdom come. The light is rising, the land redeemed, the future brighter than we dreamed. One heart
My 30 hours, okay. It was right over there. I was sitting at a table in Bible study on October 5th and got a call from the National Security Advisor of Nigeria. Second most powerful man, and a lot of people say the most dangerous man in Nigeria. And also the president's right-hand man, spin doctor, an international political consultant, slimy dude. And they, for some reason, I believe God befuddled their minds. They wanted me to come and be the Jane Fonda of Nigeria. They set up a stooge tour, photo ops. You saw the clip, like they tried to set me up on live television. I mean, it's crazy. I never told them I agreed with them. They were out there. This was after it started to become an issue. They were out there denying the genocide, calling it a hoax, and they wanted me to come help them. It's like, oh, come. We got a big press conference. The media's going to be there. Just come and tell the truth. It's like, okay. And 1 week later to the day, Jeff and I were on the airplane flying over there. And that week was crazy. Got so many people that are such wonderful advisors, high-level folks that were sewing into me and to us on this. But there was a chance we weren't coming home, and we knew it. But we both just, if this is God's plan, you know, I can think of worse causes worth ways to go. I reconnected a couple years ago with a couple college buddies for one of their birthdays. The three of us hadn't seen each other in a long time, and it was a couple years ago, my age, and they're both dead now. I mean, just different things. It just happens when you get to be a certain age, and I just figured if this is what God would have for me, so long as it's not Kiki Camarena style, I'll be okay. And we went, and got shoved in that room with those radical imams for a photo op. But it's funny, but one of the advice I got from this significant international human rights attorney, he said, don't get in the picture. That's what they're going to do. They're trying to get you in a picture where you're compromised. And here I am. They're getting ready. We flew 30 hours in the air, hit the ground. They didn't take us to the bathroom. They didn't give us a cup of water. They didn't take us to, our artillery took us straight to a photo op with these imams. The one guy that was next to me, our knees were touching. He famously has said publicly, of course we all celebrate whenever unbelievers are being killed. And he's sitting right next to me. And we stand up for a photo op, and I just remember those Vietnam stories. And so we're standing there smiling, and I just do this to the camera. And they never used any of the pictures, but hey, you know. And they went straight from there to directly from there in the same hotel as the set for the nation's top. In fact, around the world, Nigerians watching primetime live on Arise TV. And again, no break, no back. I was thankfully able to grab my blazer out of the suitcase. And they were doing the countdown for the live primetime show when we got to the set. And the handler had to force himself to sit next to me and tried to trip me up. Where you see that little video clip. Of course, there's no genocide, right? God gave me the ability to navigate through that to get to the press conference the next day. And that's where, you know, all the cameras, lights, and dropped the bomb, told the truth, and actually had it set as a dead man switch that published automatically online and syndicated my report, and had a videographer embedded with the press, live streamed it for life insurance, and it's an amazing, crazy story, but was able to convince them that it was a good idea to have a car waiting for me, so right afterwards we could hop in the car and leave. And they had no idea it was a setup, but right afterwards, I hopped in the car, went to the airport, and flew out before the bomb hit. When I left, I had 114 followers on X, not many more on Facebook. My first post got over 2 million hits, 12,000 retweets. I now have on Twitter and Facebook combined about 175,000 followers, and I gain about 2,000 a day. Ranger, it's okay. Yeah, I gained about 2,000. I mean, so it's crazy. Got back, like I said, Sam Brownback and Alveda King called me, and it's just, you know, Laura Ingram, all these, Laura Loomer, all these crazy, but we were in the air for 30 hours, we were on the ground for 30 hours, and we were 30 hours on the way back. And within 72 hours, over 3 billion global impressions, and it flipped the global narrative from 80% denial of genocide to 70% affirmation in 72 hours.
Praise God.
And I became the earth shaker. Somebody asked me the other day, what do I do? I said, I'm a Nigerian influencer. It's crazy. I post something today. In fact, I did an experiment. I uncovered something. I'll make this brief. Talking to these kids about that book, they're saying we never learned history. They didn't teach it in schools for 15 years. They haven't taught history in Nigerian schools. But this current president started a new curriculum. And so they're going to be compulsory teaching Nigerian history in these schools. I was like, wait a second. And I couldn't find, there's no reporting other than the talking points. Oh, this is great reform, you know. I looked into it. The head of the organization, the entity that the president put in charge of writing this curriculum, his credential, he is the leading expert in the Islamization of knowledge. That's his specialty. And he wrote this history curriculum that's being force-fed to kids. This guy is the scholar, leading scholar in the Islamization of knowledge. And said, no one in Nigeria knew this. So I discovered that, I did an investigation, and I dropped that this morning just as an experiment. I'm gonna see how many headlines it's in tomorrow, but I guarantee you'll be all over the Nigerian media. So that's what that 30 hours accomplished. So, so come on, Kyle. Kyle Biederman, dear brother, dear friend, 3-term state representative. He was if not the most, the top 2 or 3 most conservative in the Texas legislature, all 3 terms that he served. He's been Fredericksburg. Great man, thank you.
Thank you.
And he's got a few things to say.
Well, here it is. I didn't even know I was going to speak tonight, but you know, I've known Mike for probably about a year and a half, and I really respect him. And when he started reaching out to me about what he was doing in Nigeria, it was like, okay, another great cause. But there's so many great causes. But then he talked to me about going into Nigeria, and he needed some money for his trip. So I gave him some money to help him out on his trip. Never thinking it was going to be that big of a deal. He gets back from the trip, and I started seeing on Facebook and social media exactly what happened, the firestorm, everything that happened, and you could tell this was for real. And then when I'm sitting there, I'm watching TV, and you start seeing these politicians and these other people wanting to take credit or wanting to, be part of what Mike started. You could tell this was going to be big. And then when President Trump got on board and he bombed those terrorists up in northern Nigeria, okay, this is not just your normal or your regular, good cause that, people want to do. This is for real, and especially what's going on in the world right now. This is a spiritual battle. A huge spiritual battle, whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Iran, whether it's Venezuela, or even whether it's right here in the United States. God is moving in a huge way. And for someone right here in Blanco, Mayor Mike, I mean, it seems like when they were talking about it on TV, it was like, oh, he must be mayor of New York City, mayor of Chicago, mayor of somewhere. No, he's mayor of Blanco. Okay, we love Blanco. But it's amazing, God uses those that are willing. And Mike was willing. He sacrificed and his life going over there to tell the truth. And look what's happened. So I'm just grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to be able to help them any way I can, but I really ask every one of you, this is not just your normal cause. This has now become worldwide, and we need to be a part of it. And what the producer said up there, people want to see. Nowadays, it's all about video. It's all about seeing it. We have talk. President Trump has bombed Nigeria. But the news media and social media, but definitely news media, they want video. Just like all the things that are happening in up in Minneapolis or whatever, it's all about video. Video. We've got the video. Mike's got the video. Let's get the video out. Let's help Mike all you can. God bless you, Mike, and just thank you for all you're doing.
So Pastor Phil's gonna pray, and then if you wanna go, you can go, but we have a mic for any Q&A, we can hang, I can play more music videos, maybe more. And there's plenty of dessert, I think there's a little bit of beer and wine. So Pastor, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
That's a good one.
Do not despise humble beginnings, my friends. Abba, Father, we thank you. We thank you for every person who came tonight. We thank you for every heart that listened, every prayer that was stirred, and every gift that will be given in love-empowered faith. Your word declares that you love a cheerful giver, and that you are able to make all grace abound, so that we may abound in every good work. Tonight we stand on that promise. We ask you now to bless every offering given for the sake of your kingdom and for the persecuted church in Nigeria. Multiply these gifts, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Let them become protection where there is danger, provision where there is lack, and hope where there is suffering. Bless those who gave much, and bless who gave quietly. Bless those who wanted to give and those who prayed. We pray you supply every need according to your riches and glory in Christ Jesus. We also bless this place again, the Buggy Barn, its leadership, its staff, and all who serve tonight. Let the kindness shown here return multiplied. Abba, seal what you have done tonight. Let it not end at the table, but continue in obedience, prayer, and action. We pray your church remain faithful to remember the suffering, to stand for truth, and to walk in love. We give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. In the strong and saving name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. We have all night if you want to stay. We have a microphone if anybody wants to ask a question. What you got? Anybody have any questions? Yeah. Yes, sir. Christoph.
One moment, Christoph.
Let him do his job. Come on.
Everybody. My question, why me and Miss Alutu? Why Miss Alutu and me?
Good question. You know, the original name for this was going to be Western Education is Forbidden. I was, I never saw myself being part of the story. I never wanted any of any of that. It's all about them. But what I realized along the way, the first person narrative is the most powerful form of persuasion. And for Americans to relate and to get it and to care, if they see it through my eyes, or it belongs to everybody. You're a part of me. We're all part of me.
I see. It's not me and you. It's me.
Yeah, I'm the everyman, and if you see it through my eyes, I think you'll come to the same conclusion I've come to. That's the idea.
I was just thinking about this yesterday.
Yeah.
What does it mean is had to?
Yeah.
you know, the blunt is that it's you and Ms. Hannatu, but the me is me also.
It's everybody in Ms. Hannatu.
And Ms. Hannatu is every Nigerian that's out there.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Microphone. Let him do his job.
So I was wondering about your walking stick. I noticed it fell, I noticed it
Yeah.
in your office.
These things, I have a hat also, and I have actually a long robe. I've been, and it's not a tourist thing. I've been made a king of the Igbo tribe that's in southeast Nigeria. Eze Okochukwuninye is what they call me. Eze is king, and Okochukwuninye is the portion given by God, and that's what they call me. And an Igbo, oftentimes they see me, they'll lay down on the ground in front of me. It's crazy, but yeah, this is a king's staff given to me by a king, and this weighs about 5 pounds. It's coral from the Niger Delta, given to me by a king, and it's a sign of royalty. And I never have worn it, but I felt I needed to tonight. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
What else? Anybody else have a question? Comment?
I got a comment.
Yes, sir.
About,
Hang on, Wes.
I've got a comment about how much further money goes to Nigeria than it does to a lot of other things. And since I came back in 2021 on that trip with you, I've been donating $100 a month. My wife and I have been donating automatically to Africa Rise. And what's so special about that, this is almost hard to believe. Now with inflation, I don't know if this is still true, but it was 5 years ago, according to Mama Maria Grace. About $100 is what a university-educated school teacher gets paid in Nigeria. $100 a month. I knew somebody over there.
It's about 4 times that now. Just FYI, I mean, it's gone way up because of their inflation. But yeah, it still goes a long way. It covers them for a week. I mean, that's a yeah.
So,
it goes a long way.
So the point that, and I give it to all charities, but what I came away with was the recognition that giving $100 to Nigeria for a cause there, like the camps and the schools, is like giving $1,000 to someplace here in the United States. So money just goes further, and I would share that with anybody who might be inclined to make a donation to these schools. It means a lot. It means a lot to me in education.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you to my beautiful wife. Thank you to Jeff, everybody that helped out, Dennis. God bless you. I'll be around if you want to mix and mingle. Oh yeah, no, we're good. Bye guys.